Okay, so I'll talk about when my friend came to go camping with me. Well, she lives in Vermont now, and she wanted me to go live up there with her. She wanted me to go live up there with her in Vermont, but anyhow, so I'll tell you about the story about the camping trip. All right, so she finally comes down, and because I was always going up there, and she was like, "You never come up," but I was always making the effort to go up there. So she comes down, and we go to. I had my apartment, so I wasn't camping at Elbow Pond, but we decided to go to Elbow Pond. so so she comes into my apartment, okay, and she when you go into somebody's apartment and you haven't seen it, like when I went to her house, um, I didn't go in her house and be like, oh wow, this is really bad or that's really bad, or like I didn't sit there and pick apart her house, right? And so she comes into my apartment, right? And it's like the first thing she says is like, she says, "Oh my God, it's really dark in here." And I'm like, "Oh." She didn't say, "Oh, you have it, this is cute," or "Wow, if you fixed it up nice," or she didn't say anything good about my apartment. She just was like, "Oh, it's really dark in here. Hurry up and get out of here before your landlord comes." And I'm like, "What?" So, yeah, so we leave, we go, and I'm just waiting for red flags because I already was gonna like not continue this friendship because just weird vibes, and I promised myself from now on with jobs or people or anything, if they gave me a red flag that I was gonna deal with it. But I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard because there's always red flags. So I guess you got to determine how bad do you think the thing is. Okay. So anyway, so we're going up. All right. I think I had my truck. I wasn't, she was camping, but I was just visiting her with my truck and then going back to my apartment. And then I think one night I decided to stay. But so we're going up, and she invites this guy right out of nowhere, but she doesn't tell me she's inviting anybody. Okay, so this guy shows up. Okay, and I was like, oh well, I want to get wood before we go to camp, right? And I don't like to pay for wood, so I forage it on the way up into the woods. And there was like a shitload of wood down everywhere, so you could just pull off on the side of the road and collect like a ton of wood. And I had a huge box. So I was just like, oh, I'll collect this wood, right? Well, she books off. All right. She books off and she's like, I got to do something. And maybe it was because she wanted to drink and she knows like I'm really against drinking. So she didn't want me to know that she was drinking or something. So she wanted to go ahead of us. Oh, excuse me. She wanted to go ahead of us and like pound some beers before I came back to the campsite. I don't know what it was, but she leaves me on Route 118 in the middle of the forest with this guy. Like, I don't even know him, okay? And I'm like, and she books out, she doesn't even help us get wood. So I was like, okay. So I don't even know this guy. But he was nice. He was like, but then when he looked at my camper, right? This was another red flag. So he looks at my camper, right? So my truck is set up like a camper in the back, okay? I have it nice in there. It's not nice now, it's packed with stuff. But I have it nice so you can camp. It has everything. I even had like a little sink, but I had to leave that at Stalker Hill. So he looks at my truck and he goes, "Oh, cheesy." He called my camper cheesy. I was like, "Oh, like I don't even know this guy." And he's like, he said that. So I was like, "Oh my God, what was, so I don't know. I just ignore everything." So we get to the campsite, okay, and yeah, she didn't tell me she was inviting this guy, which is weird. So I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to stay now, like I was going to camp one night." So did I camp one night? I think I did camp one night, but like she was in her tent, and I don't know if she was like, I don't know. She does have a history of drug addiction, so I don't know if she was doing drugs or what the hell's going on. But it literally sounded like a demon voice was in the tent. It was scary as hell, and just mumbling like with this really deep like, and I'm like, oh my God. And so I started saying, "I rebuke you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. I rebuke you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ." I think she probably fell asleep. I don't know. But it was really creepy. And I was like, what the hell's going on, right? So then All right, so then she wakes up in the morning. I guess the demon was still there. I don't know, because she looked at me and she was like, like she's not a morning person, okay? And that's why I could never live with her, because she's very moody. And then she was acting weird, like she has HIV. So when I was at her house, she was cooking food, and she was like, "Oh, I cut my finger." And I think she was like looking for my reaction, like to see if I was going to freak out because I knew she had HIV, which I don't really care because I'm Rh negative and we like heal ourselves. For some reason our body heals ourselves, so I wasn't really worried about it, and we don't catch HIV. So she was looking for like she was looking like a furry reaction. I saw it. So in the morning she wakes up from camping, right, and she's like all grumpy, right, and she just gotta go to the bathroom, and she's like talking in the demon voice still, right. I was like, oh shit. So I left. I left. I was like, I had enough. This is weird vibe. I don't know what's going on, right? So I left, and then I come back, and she's saying all these people are gonna come visit her, but nobody came visit her, okay? And then so she's like, so I come back, and then she's giving me like guilt trips. She does that. She does guilt trips, and she's like, yo, why didn't you come back? I was expecting you to come back, which I never said I was coming back. She was, but she was mad at me for not coming back. And she's like, I was expecting you to come back. It was, I think, a Friday night. She goes, I was here all by myself, and I was kind of scared and trying to give me a guilt trip, okay? And then we were going to go fishing, all right? And so she was like really, I don't know, she was really nitpicking the shit out of me. And I was just ignoring it the whole time. And so she was like, we were supposed to go fishing, all right, together. And for some reason, she's like, well, you can just stay here and tend the fire. And I was like, oh, I thought we were going fishing together, right? So she never really liked fishing. And I don't know. She was like, it felt like this like jealous competition. And she was like, didn't you? And she started yelling at me in front of this other weird guy that showed up. All right. So this other weird guy just shows up, and they're chitting chatting like they're best old friends, like they knew each other from before, but they didn't. It was so weird, right? And I was like, oh my God. So she starts yelling at me like in front of this guy, like saying, like being really rude, like, didn't you just hear what I said? And I thought I told you before, Luann, like she just had this wicked attitude. I was like, what the hell? I was like, I wasn't even doing anything, right? And that was about the fishing. So then I cooked my food because like nobody was cooking any food, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to stay. So it was getting late and I was hungry. So I started cooking the food, and she was like, well, now nobody wants my food because you cooked your food. And I don't know, it just felt like I don't know what it was. All right. It's just this, I always get this like underlying jealousy, weird vibe thing going on, like a competition or something. It's like, I'm not in competition with any of my friends. I'm not jealous of any of my friends. I just accept them how they are. And I try to ignore the mood swings or whatever the stuff that they do. I try to ignore that. And I was just trying to have a good time. Anyways, I didn't go back. All right. So every single time I went to show her one of my special places, like we went for a ride, okay, and I wanted to show her one of my special waterfalls, and she didn't even want to get out of the truck. Like she wasn't interested in it whatsoever. She was like acting, every spot I wanted to show her, she was acting like she wasn't interested. But then she comes and she tells me, oh, I drove around your whole town. I went here and I went there. I went to all these places. And then she couldn't come and visit me at my apartment. But yet she was going to my McDonald's so she could use the internet to talk or whatever she was doing. But my apartment is only like maybe a mile or two from the McDonald's. So like instead of coming to visit me at my apartment and use the internet, she was sitting in McDonald's using the internet. So I was like, well, why didn't you just come to my apartment? I don't know. The whole thing was weird, right? So then I decided, I was like, I had enough. You know, I was like, I'm not going to try to figure out anybody. I'm not feeding into any of this stuff. And so I kind of like gray rocked her. Like I kind of like, and she asked me about it. She's like, well, what did I do wrong? Nah, nah, nah. And I said, well, I don't, like, where do I start? She does, and I don't think if she's on something, or I don't know what it was, if she was drinking, whatever it was, they don't know what they're doing, or they don't know like how it's coming across or how they're acting. I don't know, but I was like, this always happens. And then, so I don't talk to her anymore, but she was really pissed. She's like, why, what did I do, Luann? She's like, what did I do? And I'm like, how do you explain that? How do you explain that to somebody, you know? Would you start from the beginning just like I did and tell her the whole story? Because I don't think she cares. So anyways, it was the demon voice. I was like, what the hell? What is going on? So So that was my friend. I was friends with her for like freaking years, okay? And I think she lost custody of her daughter or something. And another thing, she's always like trying to like cling on to my children. Like she's always messaging my children, please talk to me, please talk to me. And then my daughter had told me, my oldest daughter had told me like, oh, Lisa contacted me and was asking me questions like, is your mother paranoid? What's going on with Luann? She seems paranoid. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know. But it's weird how like these people like go through my children to find out about me. This is what they always do. They don't, and a lot of them stay friends with my children, but they don't contact me, which I think it's weird. So anyways, yeah, and we used to go to, we went to this pig roast thing out in Maine. Oh my God. And the whole thing got ruined because she got so shit-faced on Jägermeister or Jaeger or whatever the hell that alcohol is. She got so shit, the whole time got ruined. And, yeah. And I told her, I said, if you're going to drink that Jaeger, I'm not going. And I ended up, I mean, we did have some good times, but it is like, I don't know. I'm not into that. I'm not into that anymore. And then when she stayed at my house, my ex tried to use that in court against me, saying that I had vagrants staying at my house, and the cops were coming on my property again, trespassing. They did that a lot in Kingston, trespassing on my property. Okay, bye. That's the story of my friend that I was friends with for 10 years, and we're not friends anymore. And I just can't deal with people's weird vibes. I just want good vibes. Okay, bye.